Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Nick with Us versus Herd. We have longtime UVH member FC in the chat today. Just want to talk about GME, the squeeze, trading, kind of where he's been at, where it's been quite a journey. He's been a member since 2017, 2018. We're here in 2021, so he's going 3 to 4 years here. Veteran member, what's going on, man?
Hopefully many more years to come, and happy to be here and happy to be trading on a day like today. Like these are like I was saying in the chat and in our Discord. This is why a lot of us show up every day, right? Because it's like we never know when you're going to get a day like this, when it seems like there's just endless, so to speak, endless juice to squeeze from, not just from GME, plenty of other tickers, and it makes it really sort of feel like an experience, like in addition to just on top of what we do every day, day in and day out. So
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going into today because we had the futures were down last night, and I was kind of going into today like with really, I would say, low expectations, and it was just like, what is gonna really happen today? Because I've been getting squeezed on Square and Lululemon, and I've been doing some good trades, keeping the flow going. But I was like, futures are like the last night. I think the Dow was down like almost 300 points. Crypto was selling off hard. Everyone was in the chat, in the UVH chat last night, like,
yep.
oh no, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
But I I think the bull market, especially when we're on almost a 1 year run, we're like a 10-month run, just straight up. Like,
Yep.
I think it just creates people over leverage themselves. So like, how have you been trading
I
through
mean,
this?
that's actually, I mean, to be honest, I've been I've been sort of limiting. I mean, definitely not sort of. I've for sure been limiting. I mean, because of that exact reason. Like, I don't want to all of a sudden, so all in, so to speak, and then we get a reversal type of like vibe from say, like, so to speak, like 2018 fall, which of course, like, things are a lot different. Market. I hate to always bring up that year, because it did. I mean, that's just, there was things were different. Politically speaking, our climate with China, like business, even just the overall sort of just everything, just like I mean, Amazon at that point was like, I mean, it was still really high. I think it was like 1800, 1900 or something like that. But
We
I mean,
almost
things
died.
were just different, right? Yeah, Tesla was, for example, this is a great thing to point out. Tesla wasn't getting squeezed, right? It was in that range. It was just constantly range bound back then. I think like 250 to 370, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think like just the market conditions were just so like vastly different, I mean, just in general. So I mean, I I've been definitely put it, and there's so many accounts, like it's like I've kind of gotten almost, especially with, you include crypto, like it's there's a lot of accounts to sort of maintain and look after, and it's a big responsibility. So like I
It's
tried
just it's
definitely
just
not
easy.
to.
It's just so easy. You just buy, and it will go up. It'll go
Well,
up, and
hey,
then when it stops going up, I
uh-huh.
just push the sell button.
Hey, I mean, that legitimately though, seriously, for how many weeks has that worked now? I mean, that's been working since like the pre-election run up longer. Like, that's been working for a minute now. I consider the pre-election run up since, like, I mean, I consider like August to like November kind of, but there was,
Yeah,
some pullback,
I
a
remember.
little bit
I
pullback.
remember like August. So like us versus her, when we had the pandemic crash, and then we had March came, and we were getting stimulus checks, and the market was going straight up. There was like an influx of people that came into
Yep.
us versus her, and then like August through October, all of them got obliterated.
There
They
you go.
got wiped out. Like, all those people are gone. And like, you can say what you want about certain people trading styles, even my trading style. People are like, wow, you're really too conservative, you should kind of bump it up. But like, at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to be here tomorrow, next
Right.
year, the year after that. Like, if you're
Hey,
trying to like I think the biggest problem for people is they like are stuck in a 9 to 5 that they hate. So they find trading as a way to
Yep.
escape that. So the faster that goes,
Yep.
and then obviously,
Yep.
we'll talk about
Facts.
GameStop and Wall Street Bets. When you see like Wall Street Bets, like, oh man, this guy is holding Tesla Leaps and he's up $2 million. Why?
Right.
Like, what's special about that guy? Why can't it be me? He's just a normal guy. Like, what's so special about that? So I think that's where, like, for me, I'm content making 300,
Okay.
500,
500.
1,000 a day. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, you just have to find like what your level of contentment is. And like in your day job, like how much are you, like, if you do the math, how much are you making at your day job? And if you're matching that in the market or above, you should just be happy.
Right.
Like,
Right.
oh man, I'm disappointed. I
Right.
missed the like GameStop, like today.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, I'm mad. I left $2,000 on the table, $10,000 on the table. Yeah, but look what you did. Look what you made.
Right.
You,
Right.
you created
From
money.
and look right and look how and you create money from, look how little capital you put into that specific trade. I mean, in this particular scenario, look how little capital you had. You were able to put in and magnify through the amazing power of options. But it to further your point on what you're saying though, on like being on the contentment part and the 9 to 5. I mean, that is such a fact with so many people. They're just like, it might not even be a 9 to 5. It might just be life in general, where they're just like, I want to get out of this life. Maybe they actually even like their job, but I mean, regardless of that, I think to put like it's definitely still always important to manage your capital and like not. I mean, this is just. I mean, days like today, it's so hard to stay. You know what I mean? To stay disciplined, and I mean, any day, honestly, any day is super hard to stay disciplined. And I think days specifically like this particular, what's today? Today's the 22nd, days like today, Friday. I mean, normally, I mean, someone mentioned, or we've getting like this, past couple Fridays have been kind of scary, and then you get a day like today, which is just, I mean, it's really just the individual, the markets themselves. I'm seeing are kind of just, everything. I mean,
Yeah.
NQ flat. I mean, that Dow, nothing special.
We're about to get into earnings. So let's, I'm going to share my screen. Let's talk about GME and kind of like what I was thinking about and like what the heck happened here. Let me just
that's really interesting. Bring up his some Twitter as well, perhaps.
Yeah, let me switch later over here. Let me switch over to my screen here. Okay, so I'm just switching over here. Okay, so today GME. I'm just pulling this up here. All right, GME. Well, we could talk about like over the last. Let me switch this to the 15-minute candles here. So in the last week, last 5 days, this thing's gone from 33 today, hitting exactly 76, got halted twice. And early in the week, I do like video recaps like on Monday, and I kind of go over one of the things that I saw that we published in the impact report. So the impact report, if you don't know what it is, send it out every week just to give market updates. But the biggest thing that I saw here with this was last week's most shorted stocks, GameStop, and this was as of January 16th, 2021. GameStop was currently trading at 35.50. It was 97, so almost 98% of the shares were short, and they had six days to cover. And I'm thinking to myself, so I was thinking on Monday, and I've been talking about this kind of all week, like any bit of buying pressure is going to make the shorts. I mean, this thing's going to squeeze hard because these guys only have a few days to cover margin. The higher it goes, the more money you owe, the more money you have to pay back. Maybe you have it in your account. Maybe you don't, like Mr. Citron. I don't know how many millions he's down now, but like when you see to identify these ahead of time, like this is something that you would want to look for GameStop, 97% short, 6 days to cover. And the short interest is at 68 million short, and was trading at 35. So as now we can see what the price action is. Let me just move this over. the price action is incredible, and
Insane.
a lot of people don't understand that when you put a short on, you're selling the stock. But when
Right.
you are covering or you want to get rid of your short, you have to put a buy order in to, get that in. So you want to put a buy order, which is making it go higher for, so when shorts start covering in a mass of amount of money or shares, it's going to cause these parabolic moves. And even like before, like just a couple of days ago, even looking at, it went from 33 to 47, and that was a rip. You know what I mean? Like that was
Sure. It's huge.
disgusting. So I mean, like what are your kind of thoughts on? So for me, as you know, I didn't make a single trade on this. I mean, I was looking at it. I was just like, there's not even enough strikes to even trade this. I mean, like
Right.
I know that you're trading. Like what
Yeah, I swung a 47 in one account call. I mean, I had no idea this thing was going to squeeze this hard. I mean, I completely I didn't, I didn't do that. I guess they can't really do the math per se. There's no way to exactly, calculate how hard something's going to squeeze. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
It's right. It's kind of just an anticipation, spec. I mean, it wasn't even at this point though. With this particular level of today and the things that he was Citron was tweeting, I was like, okay, 47 should be, that's a great lotto play. I was like, that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be great. I mean, he's saying he's like, it's going to 20, go by your own risk. And he was saying things for stock back to 20 fast. We understand short interest better. And I'm just like, okay, this is obviously not a for sure thing. But I was like, let's it'll be fun. Let's just do a lotto and let's see where it goes. I swung one and I ended up buying a 50 call in the morning, just on top of the lotto that I swung. But
for
which
expiration?
For today. They're both for today. But here's the thing. I had no, like, this is the problem. So when I set up a trade, I mean, I'm very, like, I have a plan for when I'm going to close it. And my plan for this trade wasn't that I'm going to let it run all day into expiration. That was never that literally, I don't know why, to be honest. I'm not sure why that never crossed my mind, but I'm just being honest. It literally never crossed my mind. I was like, this is going to be a mid range scalp, like a mid time frame scalp. I was like, maybe, for a day trade mid range, I'd consider an hour maybe. That's like and then a long day trade scalp would be like a 2 to 3 hour scalp for a day trade, and then minutes would be like a fast scalp. So this, in my opinion,
day of expiration, obviously is going to speed that up, because I mean, even as you know, even on day of expiration, let's say it's going towards your strike, theta is just coming in so hot that like it doesn't really make sense to hold. But obviously, today,
for me, I sold the one the call that I swung. I sold it within the first 30 minutes of open. So if you look at the first candle, I mean, I was out of that thing. But before the first, the first 30 minutes,
so small.
The 30 minutes, so 15. So before that second candle, I was like, theta's gonna kill me. I'm out. Like, I just swung this. I'm out. I'm out of here. So
what was the percentage when it opened? Like, what was the gain?
It was up quite a bit. Well, it gapped up like $2. I was almost in the money. I wasn't even in the money when I sold it. It was like just a quick flip.
Man.
Bought it for, let me see. I think I bought it for 28 cents, sold it for 50. Yeah, bought it for 28 cents, sold it for 55. Yeah, so it's like 100% gain, or a little less, like 90 something, high 90% gain. Nothing, literally not. That's what I'm saying. So that one was just like that. And then the call that I bought today on it, the 50, that one was, my mid. I was like, okay, I'm gonna scalp this for maybe like an hour or something. That guy, I ended up selling for 190. So made good money on that. Made like $150.
Yeah, what was interesting is I was kind of watching, because I mean, I'm obviously you're always kind of learning about like what the market's doing. You never really know. I mean, you're just
never. We're just trying to make our most educated guess possible based on.
I'm trying to move this over here so we can show you what I'm looking at here. I was just tracking the orders on this, and what is interesting is let me go down here. Now there's a lot of selling orders, but look at I knew that.
Now I wonder.
I knew that it was going to get kind of dicey for shorts per se when I started seeing on here that call premium large orders 265,000. Look at this 60 strike for January 29th, 60
Yeah.
60 strike, and this was at what time was this at? This was at 11:04 a.m. my time. So when you're looking at 11:04, it was, look at this right in here,
Right.
right before this.
Insane.
So I thought, because for me, what I was looking at was like, okay, maybe this is going to come down after hitting 55, because I was talking about like, I think that it's going to hit 55.60 today.
Hmm.
But then I started seeing those order flows come through, and they started, as you can see, let me bring that back up here. Right at 11:04, right before that massive run to 75. Look at these orders here for the 60 strike calls.
Well, the max, which is the max strike even available.
Yeah. So I'm like, man,
Yeah, there's not even
look at these,
for today.
look at all these buy orders
Yeah,
at 60 strike. They just kept hammering them. So I'm like,
and this is all within. Okay, so this is okay within 15 minutes now. This is up to 11:19, but still, it's a lot. It's a ton.
but look at all these,
It's a ton. Yeah.
orders here for those strikes, right? And then
Right.
now if you look at the orders on these, let me go back to the more recent ones coming in right now. What are you starting to see? Heavy orders
So,
on the put side.
for not today. Oh, also for today. They don't even care. They're just. Oh no, for February.
This is
February too.
February.
Yeah, February.
These are January 29th,
Next
February.
week.
So they're as you
So
can see,
yeah.
they're starting to lay in on the short side for all these puts right in here. So it's kind of interesting to me that like the big dogs. I think this was obviously it was a trap. Wall Street bets, but those heavy call orders on the 60 strike and the 50 the 50s
58. Yeah.
the 58 strike, like they knew when it was going to squeeze, and those orders kind of confirmed it, because it really just pushed it out there. And then we had the double halt, and now we're just like, it's
That was crazy. Yeah.
literally stuck.
It's
Now, do you think?
Oh yeah, now it's just in this
Now, do you think?
and right below.
Now, do you think this was Wall Street bets 100% manipulation? Or, I have to think that there's other bigger players at this. Because if you look at those orders, how many people at Wall Street bets can afford $200,000 of 60 strike calls?
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely some big boys.
Like those were
right.
Those were someone was purchasing millions of dollars of calls before this ran, and now they're laying into the put side. Like if Wall Street bets, you'll see big orders, but for 10, 20 grand, something like that, not 100, 200 grand in one shot.
Right. Well, what's in once I think I saw the 70, 71. That's again, I was thinking exactly like you were. I was like, okay, this is way more. It was probably like you're saying. This is probably they were getting in long before, but I didn't register in my mind until I saw like that 70, 71, 72, 74. I was like, okay, this is way. And mind you, like I was out. Before this thing even hit 50, because I'm thinking like, okay, like squeeze. Okay, it's getting squeezed. Like the squeeze will end and it'll drop back down. It'll probably close somewhere around like 45, 44. Around where it opened or something. No clue. I had no idea that it was getting.
Well, if you,
like you said, there's some big fish, some big whales.
You would have helped for sure.
Exactly. And hey, like of course I love a play like this, right? I love a lot of a play that could turn into a quad bag of just an insane magnitude of percentage return. But that's not what I'm aiming for, right? Like even while we were on this video chat, like I closed out, like I was closed out a PLTR. It's almost at 32, by the way. So there you go. Like that's just another example of leaving money on the table. I was riding the 30 call, and it's just this is what I like to do, though. It makes me
one of the things also that I think it was a coordinated attack, because some of these speculative stocks at exactly the same time, GameStop, look at AMC's chart today. Exactly. Here we are, 11:45 Central Time.
Yeah.
Like like this was, I feel like
Yeah.
somebody was out to squeeze these shorts on these speculative stocks. I mean, what are the odds GameStop and AMC are going to squeeze at the same exact time? You know, like that
Yeah.
was crazy. Like to start seeing all
Crazy.
these
Yeah. No,
like
it's
penny stocks just start blowing up for some reason. I mean, like like this was. I mean, this
I
was
think I no,
didn't.
I definitely see the correlation how they just like, someone was even pointing out, it was Top Picks. He was pointing out the the times. Like there's times kind of the day when, when the algo's like, I'm sure you pick up on this too. Like there's time, we've even talked about this in the past, how there's just the algo they just pick, like it's just their program. They're programmed for these times of
Sure.
the day when they just love to pump and dump. And I mean, they kind of take a break for lunch. We notice, right? Lunch is kind of dead, a little stagnant, and then they come back after lunch. The algos turn right back on, and they're programmed to do their thing. So,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean that's
yeah, it's just crazy.
yeah,
And the market right now is still red. I mean, it's better. I mean,
right.
S&P's only down 3, Nasdaq's down 5,
Look
but
at Apple in the middle there of
like
your screen. Yeah,
yeah, Apple's
just killing it.
explosive, but I mean, like Apple and I think it was Amazon's still down. Like a lot of these big players, like Intel got smacked. Um,
Mm-hmm.
hard. AMD, I sold this gap up
Mm.
because I'm like,
Shade.
you
Very
know,
see, yeah.
thank God I
That's what
did
you do.
because this
That's what you
gap,
do.
this gap up, like I took my gains and I ran away fast. I mean,
Yeah.
I was holding through 87, it ripped
7.
back up, and I said, I gotta I gotta
You
cut.
gotta. You gotta. Yeah, I took actually. Yeah, I didn't even wait till today. If you, I'm seeing. Actually, I can see where I took mine yesterday on that nice, beautiful, just ladder
Mhm. Yeah,
right
that
in the
was
middle of yesterday. Yeah, I took my spread off on that. I was like, okay, like I was break even on my spread yesterday. I put it on Tuesday, or yeah, put it on Tuesday. Should have probably let it go Wednesday. Didn't. Swung it over to Thursday, and I was just like, all right, that's it. Like I'm up. I'm gonna take it off. Like I don't even like I'm good. I'm good. That's the thing. I think you and I have just we understand compounding. We understand that everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna make a million more trades. Like it it's just like we're fine. We're fine with being like, okay, like my position came back around. I'm gonna take it off. Okay, sure. Maybe it's gonna continue to run, but based on delta theta expiration, we're gonna probably in a lot of cases be like, yeah, just no big deal. Take it off and just put it into another likely
yeah.
scenario
I mean,
of profit.
it's a lot harder to make $1,000 once than it is, 10 trades of $100 at a time,
Mm,
just kind of
true.
small. I mean, like today, like Penn, I got into Penn
Yeah, 10 is crazy.
and I bought the
I
dip
was
on
there. I mean,
I bought the dip on Penn like when it started to really level out around like the 106. And
yeah.
I sold this first pop right here. Now it went up way higher, but I sold it like right here. It was like 109, like right when it broke. Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
chances are I could get rejected. I was
No,
already
good play.
up, you know,
Good play.
15% in an hour, doing literally nothing. Like
No, it's a good play. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, for me, I'm working. I'm taking meetings. I'm I'm on the phone sometimes. I'm on WebEx. I'm on Zoom. Like for me, if anything, like you're saying, anything I can squeeze, like I'm not even like it's good. Like look at another great example, Husker. Husker is doing the same thing I was doing today on PLTR. He's just sees
Mhm.
it dips down. He's multitasking. He puts his limit. He's like, okay, I'm either going to lose 10% or I'm going to make like 70%. Or I think he's even said a couple of them, he put 150% target and he comes back and checks. And sure enough, his 150% target hit before taking a 10% loss. It's just like, you can't, I mean, these are the types of trades I feel like you ideally want to take. You familiarize yourself with the pricing, right? Not just with the chart, but the
Mhm.
actual option pricing itself. And you just run it. You find that range, and you just hit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this thing was definitely bull flagging. My biggest concern when Huster was trading it, it was coming up at the time, it was coming up on the 29, 29.50 range. I'm
Right.
like, we know that there's sellers right in here, right? So is it gonna squeeze or not? So, I'm a firm believer of making sure you buy the confirmation. Don't buy just
Totally.
because if you get smacked, it's gonna hurt, and there's like no point
Yeah.
in just you're
Right.
just gonna stack your losses that way. But this thing,
Right.
I mean, today, I mean, this is like,
Oh, it even hit 32. I didn't even see that. We were on the call. It just did it.
yeah, just like
Yeah.
right now, this is
Just
like
now. Yeah.
this is
Yeah, I
insane.
mean, see, had I even left it, actually, do you remember when we first hopped on? I was like, maybe I should just leave it on. I was like, oh, I got to close some positions. Maybe I should just leave it on. That was it. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
like it is. I mean, I didn't lose money. It's fine. I still made like $80. Like what?
Yeah,
it's
bro,
cool. Like
these are
it
up.
expires today, mind you. 30 call expiring today. So yeah, you're looking at it right there.
Yeah, the 30 call up almost 15,000%.
Jeez. See, I didn't even. Like, I'm on Tasty. I don't even see the percentage. I'm on there. I don't even have Thinkorswim open right now. Jeez.
Yeah, this thing.
Oh my God.
These are up.
Right. Well, because
I mean,
right. Because if you had swung it, you're killing it right now.
I think that like I've said this before, that I really wish there was Twitter and social media back in the last tech bubble, because I think it would look, the people's posts would probably look a lot like they are today, and
Right.
I'm not going to be the guy that says, oh, is it a top? Like, I don't know where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I don't know
for sure
if we're in a bubble. I don't know if we're in a top, but I do know that this stuff is not gonna be sustainable,
but cycles, right? Just
but
good,
I'm not, like, for me, like, my strategy right now, keep some cash, don't go all in. And because people starting to ask, like, or comment or send messages like on the Facebook group or stuff like that. It's like, hey, do you think I should start hedging with VIX? And are we going to get a market crash? Or people, I'm like, if you start thinking like that, you're going to keep shorting. You're going to be like Tom Sosnoff in 2017. Just keep shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting. And then you're at a place like you lose money month after month after month. Just wait. If we're going to get a crash like we did in February, you're going to get a bunch of confirmations. Like, like looking at SPY back in February, pull up SPY here. Like, you're going to get confirmations when you slice through the 50-day, when you slice through the 200-day moving average, and you're riding the 10-day moving average all the way down. There's your confirmation right now. Look, all trends, 200-day moving up, 50 days moving up, 10 days moving up. So yes, we could crash, but like timing the crash is a losing game.
It's bad for your health, honestly. Like, if we're just like, let's pretend like we erased 2020 and it didn't happen, but we were just to look at this chart. Mm-hmm. I would say we shouldn't even be talking about, any crazy sell-off or anything until the beginning of March. Like, that before is just confirm. You know what I mean? Like, that what happened in February. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's a significant sell-off. What happened there? I think I'm not really lined. I can't remember exactly, but really it starts to get bearish around. Zoom in a little bit right there.
So which one?
In
February?
February, like February, March. I'm just trying to see like when really the bear conversation should have been getting started. But I'm saying, like, mind you, not because I'm sure the events and the the circumstances. Correct. They panic. We were starting to learn kind of all about. Okay, so really at the beginning of March, that crossover right there is and I mean you can see the dead cat bounces too and stuff. You can kind of tell, like, whoa, things are getting very, very shaky here. Time to talk about
I just remember that, like, so at the start of 2020, we came off. I mean, October was a little bit rocky back in 2019, and then ever since then, it was literally straight up every day. And the only thing, and everyone was saying, "Oh, we're gonna crash, and we never crashed." The only thing that made us crash was a black swan event. A pandemic took the market down. Like, if there was no pandemic, like, we would probably have a different conversation right now. It'd probably just be me and you be like, so like, are we just going to go up forever, or are we just, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
even now, I haven't even like, even though we've kind of like SPY slowed down a little bit, I haven't bought a put since the
Quite
summer.
some time. Hey,
Like,
I don't, well, because yeah, I mean, hey, they're probably going to zero. Let's be honest.
now,
I mean, the puts I bought have gone to zero. I'll tell you that
yeah,
much. Or I mean, yeah, I didn't hold them to zero, but they went to zero.
now I've been shorting puts. I mean, I'm short puts in plug. That's up 55%.
Yeah, that's
I shorted puts in AMC. I'm shorting puts in CLOV. I've been shorting puts in that. I'm short puts in SPCE Virgin Galactic right now. That's up 42%. Like, I
because
mean,
it's easy when the premium on them thickens, you short it.
it's just,
You just right when things drop, the premium on it gets a
yeah,
little
it's
thicker.
just,
It's like literally an inverse of buy. Well, it's not an inverse of buying the dip. It is buying the dip inversively.
and and I, and I think like people keep asking, people ask like, when is it a good time to start hedging? When is it good? And the way I look at it, and I don't know how you look at it, but I'll want your opinion on this. The way I look at it is if you start losing consecutively, because I know that as a trader, if I have one or two bad trades, not a big deal. It's part of the game. But if I'm just losing day after day after day after day, something's got to change. Like either you're lined up with the wrong strategy, maybe you were 100% long on the market's dropping. So if you start losing for 2 weeks in a row, or even like, if you have a bad week, you have a bad week. But if you start losing 2-3 weeks in a row, I think at that point you have to kind of evaluate what you're in and why you're in it. I mean, when do you start kind of evaluating like, hey, maybe I'm wrong here,
No, I honestly, it's for me. I'm the type to, and I think I think this is a commonality that I see with my family too, when they're making investments and they're making decisions, and we tend to typically learn through the hard way, right? Or learn by take in the market, learn as I really gravitated to that as well from the beginning, where you'd say, hey, you either got paid, made some money, or you learned a lesson. So I gravitated to that big time, because to me that's like, I mean, what better way, right? Because losing, or I guess not better way, but what more? I guess the right word, I suppose, is effective, or so for me to answer the question is like, yeah, that's when I assess it, and unfortunately for me, it's usually after taking like a pretty substantial loss. So I'll be like, okay, like, I need to tighten up. I need to tighten up. I need to change the market. The market's changing. I'm doing the same thing I've been doing. It's no longer working, and I'm bleeding. Like I'm like, let me give you a good example. When I'm jeopardizing the 1 month, the 1 month P&L, if I like run back and I check through and I'm like jeopardizing my 1 month, I definitely tend to get very serious about and tighten up. The 1 year, I'm at the point now where I feel like I cannot jeopardize the year to date like that. You can't like that, because before I used to gamble with the year to date P&L, be like, oh, we're good, I'm green year to date, like, let's run it, let's
10
go.
grand.
What's
1,000? Who cares?
Don't do that. You're five. In my case, yeah, exactly. It'll just boom like that. That to me was like, five. A couple years ago, that would have 5 trades would have wiped me out completely, and I'm like, oh great, I can't trade anymore. So that was always something for me. I think in the beginning it was like, okay, let me monitor my all time profit. Am I okay? Am I green? And then at one point, as you know very well, I was not. And then I started to tighten up and be like, oh, we can get green again. Let's just tighten up the 1 year. Let me make sure I'm green year to date. But really, I achieved being green overall by tightening on the months. The months are very important, because as we know, the green days turn to green weeks to months, and so on.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, like kind of finding your zone. And like, that's one thing I've always taught and said, like, just find your zone. If you're good with hitting 5% consecutively, just do that. Like, you don't have to prove to you or anyone, your friends, like, it doesn't matter. Because if you could hit 5% every time, and then once you hit 10%, like you struggle with that, like, stop take the 5%, redeploy the capital. That's why I always say redeploy, take profits, redeploy capital. That's what I did on AMD. Was AMD a big winner for me?
Yep.
Absolutely not. But I took my profits, I got into Penn, made some more profits, took those profits, kind of rolled it. And I would say in August, like for me, I did catch the FOMO bug. I had like 35 winning trades in a row, and I was making money hand over fist on Zoom. I was making money on DocuSign. I was making money on Tesla. It was just like, but the thing is, like, no matter where you're at, you're always going to catch that FOMO. And what made me stop? I lost $3,000 on Tesla during the Battery Day event, and I got caught. I mean, I'll be honest, bro. I got caught in the hype, and you could fall. I mean, you could fall victim to that at any time. Like, so I'm thankful for that to happen because it's really brought me back into my zone. But you get into a place like, you start feeling like kind of invincible. And I feel like a lot of people in the market right now is like, oh man, like you're dumb if you don't buy the dip, man. Like just
right.
Just buy the dip.
We have turned to the, for sure. Because it's working and it's working so frequently, and it's actually producing. I mean, it's not, I mean, in the past, buying the dip before it used to be like, what dip, first of all, and second of all, like it's barely, buying the dip barely produces anything. I'm making like 4%, bro. Like, no one cares. It's just like, what the hell? Like, buying the dip didn't do anything. I mean, you know what I mean, depending on how far in the money and so on. But now it actually produces. I mean, it's crazy.
We saw today. Dips are paying out 15,000% for
right. And it's crazy too, because look, I just checked and it was just at 32.50. So it's like, what is it, 20,000? What is it, 20,000% now? Like,
I mean,
it's just,
I think the biggest issue is going to be in 2021 when this thing, I don't know if it will, but if it starts to slow down, like what you don't want to happen is make all this money, and then at the end, like towards the middle at the end of the year, they just start bleeding you out.
Yes.
And you're like, so I find that, like, keep a set amount of like a capital in your account. If you go, like, let's say you had 10 grand in your account and you go to 15, 20 grand, take out the 5, take out the 10 grand, reset. If you did it with 10 grand before, or 5 grand or whatever,
do it again.
You could do it again. And that way you're saving your profits. And that way you're not like what people do, especially like on Wall Street bets, is they'll like, okay, I'll make 10 grand into 20 into 50 to 100, 100. And eventually you might have that one trade that wipes out all of your gains. You're like, oh, YOLO. I mean, like, bro, if you're YOLOing, I mean, really anything, but if you're YOLOing 50 to 100K and you are a middle-class citizen in America that really needs that money, you're better off just taking a withdrawal, pay off your debt or whatever, or go pay cash for a car or whatever you want to do with it, use it as a down payment, but don't, if you did it before,
buy some property,
with a set amount, you could do it again. Just
I'm with you.
Start stacking.
I'm right there with you. And it's because it's like, it's almost like we want our portfolio to do what some of, you know what I mean, what some of these options are doing, and it's just not the way. They're too there's no, I mean, I guess there is correlation, but that's just not how
but nobody's
a portfolio
doing
is supposed to, right? But that's just fundamentally speaking, that's not how a portfolio is supposed to move. Even though we want it to, it's not going to move like an options price. It's going to slow, it has to snowball. There's really no other way. The only way is to snowball. There's just, I think a part of it is the misunderstanding of that, of thinking like, no, like, because exactly what you said, it's like, this guy did it, and you see that 1,000 times and you're like, hold on, why isn't it me? Why aren't I doing that? But those are like days like today. It's a one-time thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny that, like, some people are like, back in the day, I mean, you don't hear about too much anymore because people are making so much money on options, but they wanted to be like Warren Buffett, and they wanted to be the value investor, and they wanted to be the next billionaire like Warren Buffett. I'm like, well, if you have the next 60 years, 70 years that Warren Buffett dedicated to this, then that
Yeah.
path is for you. But
Hmm.
people are like, oh no, I just want to be a billionaire. I don't really
Yeah.
want to wait most of my life.
That's a lot.
You know?
Right. Right.
Like,
Right. See, so a lot of people think Warren Buffett, right? So they forget that we didn't really hear about him up until like what, 20 years ago or something? Like Buffett, I don't
well, I
know
mean,
how long ago, how long
well, he was big in the 70s, the
he's
80s,
big
and
in the 70s and 80s.
but
Okay.
I mean,
50, he's 50 years of trading now.
yeah,
That's right. Cause he's been,
I mean,
yeah, how old is Warren Buffett? He's old.
he's in his he's almost 90, I think. I mean,
Okay. So that, right. So
but
cause he got to ride those markets.
I
That
mean, he's
makes
been
sense.
buying companies since he was in his 20s. I mean, he became a millionaire early,
Right.
you know, but
He does some interesting things too that not everybody realizes. Like he does a lot of interesting things with the like reinvestments and all the like, so it's not just for
well,
Buffett, it's so much more than just buying. So he does a lot. And yeah, you're right. He is 90. So I was way off. So this guy, Buffett's been a thing now for, yeah, exactly 50, 60 years now. He's been
yeah,
like
I mean, he's
a
I mean,
figure. Yeah.
he's up there, and he's dedicated his whole life to
Like,
compound investing. I
yeah.
think honestly, he's probably shocked at the amount he's worth and the amount his company's worth, because I mean, probably planning it out, he didn't think it was going to be that big. I mean, even if you do the math, you don't know the end result. Like, you don't know, like with Tesla, it's like if you were a shareholder
Yeah.
in 2013, I mean, you have high hopes, but
Right.
you don't really know it's going to go up 10,000%. Like,
No.
and even like recently, Elon did an interview. He's like, yeah, I thought it was like a 90% chance we were going to be done back in,
Right. Of success. He thought they were going to be. He really thought they were going to be toast. I specifically remember that.
Yeah. So he's like, we're not gonna make it, but he made it through. Now, he's kind of battling Jeff Bezos. But the thing is, like, Jeff Bezos and Elon, they don't really even care that much. Like, they don't care that they're the richest person in the world. They care about what they're delivering to the people and how they're changing the world. And then your wealth is a byproduct of that transformation, and people just want, things. I mean, I guess obviously everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants to be stable, everyone wants to be well off, but at the end of the day, you got to put in the work, man.
No, it's 100% true. And I think, to attest to what you're saying, I think it's actually so funny, kind of like it's I guess it's irony. I'm not really sure, but yeah, isn't it interesting how Bezos, like, his obsession is, I mean, I guess I'm going off on a whim here, but I'm pretty sure it's something to do with connectivity, data, putting up, customer service, obviously making he's obsessed with just like, because otherwise he would have stepped away a long time ago, right? If he wasn't obsessed with the idea of the connectivity and the data and all the property and just connecting, basically just creating this huge, awesome conglomerate that's just like, freaking he would have stepped away. And then Elon's like take is like the space thing, right? If he wasn't and like the energy saving and the batteries, like if they weren't so obsessed with these things, they would have stepped away. Or with Elon's case, he wouldn't have even have made these companies, right? He would have stayed in fintech. He would have been like, I'm not even touching like automobile business. I'm not touching that. Like, I'm not touching like. So it's interesting how you're totally right. How the money, like, in there, I mean, who knows? I don't know their level of interest in stocks and options, but I'm sure to some degree, right? They have, I mean, they own they're CEOs of these massive companies. They have to be, at least they have duties. They have duties to some extent to, at least understand and like talk and acknowledge the stock price. I mean, I know a lot of people want Bezos to do a split, but he's just like, I don't care. Let it run. Let it go to, it's just so funny how they're like, it's just like so inverse. But hey, I mean, these are the guys that are, these are the head honchos in charge, and it doesn't look like they're stepping away until, I guess until they have to, or I don't even know when or what that day looks like. But it's so interesting because like everyone else is, I don't really know if we're trying to like emulate them per se, or if you know what I'm saying. But like it's funny because they're always, they're always being brought up and they're always mentioned in it, and it's like, of course, partly because of their roles, but I think part of it is like, that people want to be successful. A lot of people do trade to kind of, they want to change, like we said at the beginning of this, they want to change whatever it is. Maybe they're not happy with their job, 9 to 5, whatever, the case might be. So it's kind of funny how it all ties back in together into this just, lifestyle, stock market, and then like business kind of all just in one umbrella of traders, right? If you're not a trader, this doesn't pertain to the person whatsoever. But it's like, in order to be a trader, you have to sort of be tied in to these other things, or not. I mean, I think some people kind of just go into and they're like, yeah, I like Facebook, I like Apple, I buy these things. I don't get into the per se like politics, right, of the trading. But in my opinion, I don't know if that's any way to trade without doing your due diligence and it being more than I like. I think it's a great place to start. I think it's an awesome place to start. Say, I like this company, but I'm going to go ahead and do some due diligence as well before I, put $10,000 into their stock or into their options, for example. So
sure. If there was, kind of wrap things up, if there was one thing you learned over the year, 2020, 2021, like what was that thing that kind of defined that for you or help you out as a trader?
So for me, I think it's going to be, I guess, because I'm going to be honest here. I'm the style where I'm not going in and like went back in March. I needed time to understand and digest what's going on. And even like, I didn't think we were going to rip back up for some time. I'm not going to lie. I got pretty like just on, you know what I mean? Like I bearish isn't even the right term. I was just not,
just uncertainty.
Like, it was more than uncertainty. It was just my outlook, right? It's like the fear. That's the thing. It's like fear and being bearish do correlate, of course, right? That's like the greed and fear. Mm-hmm. But it's the type of fear where you're just like the uncertainty and the fear. It was just like, I don't want to even try it. Like, I'm not even like, I don't even want to short. I don't want to short. I got into this weird sort of phase for a couple of weeks there where I really wasn't even trading. I was just watching really intently. A lot of those days where we halted, I was just, kind of trying to absorb and learn from it. And it's weird. It's almost like I tried to learn lessons without actually trading, if that makes sense, just because, and not even, and it's funny too, because I was like, I could open up a paper trade account but I was like, I just want to watch. I was like, this is just such like, exactly. It's so intriguing. And I've never actively like, I've been aware of halts in the past, but I've never actually actively like, and then meanwhile, mind you, I'm like working and I got meetings and calls going on at the same time, and people were just adapting to work from home. I'd always been accustomed to freaking driving to the office every morning at 9. So at this point, it's just like wake up at 6:30 when the market opens, and I don't have to drive anywhere. So I'm adapting all this. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Now I can be here, but I also, the market's getting freaking killed. I was like, I don't even want to be in it. I just want to learn and grow. And like you said, we're always learning, right? So even though we're getting into the deep years here of trading, but we're always learning. We're always learning, and my takeaway for 2021, coming off of 2020, is gonna just be to like stay patient. Stay patient, because that no matter how long you trade, no matter how I maybe when we get to Buffett stage, maybe, but like until then, it's always gonna be like, I don't want to say there's always going to be better entry, but in a sense, you can always kind of be more patient, if that makes sense. Like, you don't always need to jump in on. You can always kind of wait and catch the next bus or catch the next train per se, just because we don't know, like, nobody knows what's going to happen. Like, and I agree. That's why I don't want to be too bullish right now. And I also don't want to be bearish for no reason and just buy puts because we're at all-time high. All-time highs do all-time high things. They keep rising. They go to new all-time highs. That's just what they do. So I want to be patient. I want to buy the dip. And I also want to, be looking out for potential, pitfalls and sell-offs. But again, neither of us are the guys to be asking when is this day going to come, because we just, quite frankly, don't know. No one does.
Yeah. I think the biggest, the most hope I think people should have right now, if you made it through 2020 and going into 2021, I think because there's a lot of people that just started trading in 2020. I think the hope that I'd like to give them is that wasn't normal and that's not typical. And never in my trading career have I changed strategies so many times in such short time frames to just stay alive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you made it through there without actually losing that much money, and even if you made it through there with losing money, the amount of knowledge that you gained is going to make you so much more profitable and more consistent in the years to
That's right.
come. Like that
That's right.
was like if you started trading in like if you started trading in 2010, people didn't see any bearish stuff until 2018. They're like, I don't know what a red year.
There.
Like, I
Right.
don't know what this is. I don't know how to trade this. And now that you've made it through 2020, 2021, like even me as a trader, like I've never seen the entire market get halted multiple times in a day
Times.
before like that. And
Same. I don't think I've even heard of it or read
yeah,
about it.
it was scary. It was freaking scary.
Right.
But now that we made it through there, we made it through green, hopefully. If not, like
Yeah.
you come back with that
Hell yeah.
knowledge, and you're gonna come back on top, and you're gonna 2020, you're gonna crush it. 2021
Mhm.
and forward, you're gonna be set up for the next 10, 15 years. You just
Yeah.
can't give up.
Right. And
So
you're totally right. It's unseen, unforeseen, circumstances that it just, hey, if you made it through that, you definitely, that was accomplishment enough. And that's something else that I think ties into outside the market too, right? Because a lot of people had big years in 2020, and hey, I did this, I got this, I bought this, I accomplished this, and I love it. I love to see it on. I love to see the people that kind of grabbed it by the horns and they're like, I'm not letting the pandemic stop me. I'm gonna make this happen, and they went and did it. So I love to see that, but I also love to see the people that were like, hey, I was really struggling, but I turned trading, my life, whatever, job, because I've seen that too. I've seen people turn their jobs around in 2020. They're like, I hated my job, but 2020, now I love it. I work from home. My boss isn't freaking all over me, and I'm happier in my life, and because of that, I can make better trades or whatever the case might be. So definitely,
yeah.
definitely looking forward to a good year.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, man. It's
Yeah.
always a pleasure hanging out with you, just chatting, talking stocks. I mean, we definitely have to do it more often. 2021, just
I love it.
Keep the momentum going, man.
Hell yeah! Thanks, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks.